Hi guys, welcome back and welcome to the chaos of my Falcon room. Today a bit different. I've been working on mine, frantically trying to get this thing finished and down to the garage, get it painted. Been painting a few sections here and there, but for the main part, still up here and still chugging away on it. But today, something different. Just showing what I've been working on here in between what I've been doing on my Falcon. These are the big underside pits for build number 2, aka John Simmons commission build. So these are the New Hope maintenance pits on the port and starboard front saucer sections underneath, in original configuration, original kit parts, and absolute joy to build these up again. Trying to remember how the heck I did things, but yeah, you get there, and this is the result. So these aren't finished by a long shot. John's sending over more parts to finish these off, but I can just chug on with other stuff for him and continue with these. I mean, there's still a few parts to add and pipes and things. It's like, I've got these pipes to add, pre-bent. So this is, I guess, if you look in the Chronicles book, here's pretty much an overhead view of what we call the Chieftain pit, because this section here is from the Tamiya 35th scale Chieftain British tank, cut and pretty much makes up the basis of the whole pit and all the structures surrounding it, and that's pretty much goes, whoops, wrong page, for the McLaren pit. We call this McLaren because virtually every part in there is almost McLaren, Tamiya 1/12 McLaren. And the big McLaren tub makes up pretty much the whole assembly of the pit there. So I'll describe this one, which is the Chieftain pit. So it's cut very well. Let's just say the cuts have to be precise to it, and everything's, my process is I cut a piece of plastic for the base, place everything on there, mark everything out. I don't know if you can see all my pencil lines. Yeah, there's like marking pencil lines there of placement, and all the detailed parts are laid out. It's tricky because my blueprint is actually, there it is right here, but because I can't get into my own pits that I've made, so I've had to like rethink these again. But having said that, it has become pretty, it's easy to, well, is it easy? Some of it is and some of it isn't, to try and remember what you've done. To do it a second time, you'd think it would be easy, but I think, if I was doing this a third time, I could rattle it off pretty quick, especially this McLaren pit. But the Chieftain one, it's so, the cuts are awkward. If you take this strip here, it's cut off this, the shadows here are horrible, off this Tamiya 25th scale Centurion tank off the end, cut off this very precisely and placed on the end here. And the levels, it's just insane, the levels of this thing to get it right. Like this, the bottom is lower than the top, because I've cut this down, and in the middle, the centurion part here with the 8 rad parts sitting on top, it angles down, and there's a specific gap sitting on these sitting on the Tiger 2 plate, the engine deck plate. So once I've laid those out, oh yes, and the distance from the back wall has to be precise for all these to fit in and overhang, because this back wall is very close. If you look in the chronicles, if you can see here, the plating barely overhangs that back wall, and you can see all the detail in there. It's not as hidden as the McLaren pit. So when you look down in that Chronicles pic and you look down on this, you should see like these details. So since I've built mine and now doing John's, I've pretty much, there's been more IDs. So actually John's is more accurate than ever. So so that's a pretty cool thing. But yeah. So yeah, a bit more to add on here. A lot of it is hidden with the overhang, like this area here. If you come down, you can see it's all hidden under this armor plating, and the back here as well, over here. So that little Bandai 72nd scale perfect grade Falcon was a godsend, because it allowed us Falcon builders to see details and virtually ID kit parts that were never seen before, because obviously they had reference material which we've never seen before. But the Chronicles book is very good for seeing straight down onto the pit for placement, and yeah, just the details and things. And so I'm back to bending pipes again. Always a joy, especially the bigger pipes. They are a real pain in the butt. So as you can see, many little experiments over here. There's a box of all reject pipes, but they do get used for other things, which is pretty good. But yeah, these big ones, there's a real art to having these bent, or bending them over heat. What I use is a candle, and I'm pretty much just bending over heat on an open flame. It's a tricky thing to do, but what I do with these bigger diameter ones, I think this is a 6.4 or whatever it is. Not many of these used, but what I do with these, and a 4.8 I think it is, these are butyrate tubing from Plastruct, and it bends beautifully, but it only bends beautifully if you insert a core, an evergreen rod into it to make it effectively solid, and then you can bend it ever so slowly. But having said that, some bends are sharp, some bends are a nice slope to them, or a nice gradual curvature. That's just paying notice to the reference. But yeah, you go through so many just to get that perfect bend. Well, I do anyway. I don't know if others would, but yeah, I mean, it's just, you want the bend to look just right, you know. So if you take like this one here, it's got like a sharp bend there, and a nice gradual curve there, and that's just a varying degree of how much you hold it over the flame, how long you hold it over the flame, how fast you bend the pipe or not. The smaller diameter, the rod ones are just easy as to bend. You can get anything in seconds that you want. So yeah, well, not everything's even. It's not meant to be. I don't think it is in the ref. So like this one here angles off to there. I think Bandai had everything too precise. It just wasn't like that. It was just all over the place. So I've still got to glue this in. AMT pay hauler rail, chassis rail. What I do is I don't know if you can see all the holes. See, there's the pay hauler slot on the back wall, and the hole there for the there's another, where are we, this one goes into here and comes out somewhere about there. So they're like pre-done, pre-bent, ready to insert. But yeah, pretty stoked with how these are turning out. John's sending over more of these FX pontoon bridge, what do you call them, girders. Those need to be modified, and that's placed over there. And then the back walls, the side walls are added. But these are massive. I mean, that's a massive assembly that you don't see for the most part, but you know, it's under there. And yeah, so that's that one. McLaren pit. Yeah, so I haven't glued that on as yet, McLaren tub, because my process, if you take this pit, McLaren pit, I mark out where I want this, and then everything underneath and to the sides I glue down first, and then that's glued down last, because it's so easier to glue everything in around it and underneath it than have the tub glued in place and try and get your fingers in there and glue everything precisely. Because I use CA. Once you put CA down, that's it. You never get to move it. So but yeah, so there's more pipes there. There's a lot more pipes. There's a few more details on here to add. Where are we? There. Back wall goes there. Yeah, I haven't cut that down yet. Yeah, so that sits there. No, it doesn't. It sits somewhere around like that. Yeah. Actually, I've made markings there, so it sits about there. God, already I'm forgetting what I've done, so sorry about that, guys. So yeah, as I said, lots of Yardley or Texaco M23 parts, 12 scale. What's the other thing? Honda or Lotus, I forget which two. 12th. And a few Aurora M8 carrier parts. But yeah, these are just lovely to build up. And yeah, I've got to add all the piping in. So with the piping or tubing, I use, where are we? It's a mix. So evergreen, varying sizes. So I have 3.2. These are solid rod. 2mm, 2.5, and a 1.6. And the 1.6 isn't used that much. Then we go on to Plastruct. these are styrene, evergreen is styrene, and these are butyrate. And this is a 4.8 tube, and this is the 6 something, and they're hollow. And that's why I said you insert some of this. It's mainly either 2 or the 2.5 millimeter rod inserted into these big plastrite tubes to enable bending. So yeah. Oh, and over here, did this for John ages ago. This is the, what do we call this one? Jag Panther, or Yag Panther, I don't know how you say it. The pit for the upper starboard rear. So the main hull, or the main assembly of it, is from the Jag Panther, like pretty much used straight as it is, and then detailed. Lots of castings on there. Centurion, some M23, and Bandai 24th Panther G, I believe. Those two little cylinders on the top. Oh, and a Ferrari brake caliper or something, whatever it is. But yeah, that's still, there's a few details on the side of that to add, and I'll cut that down, and that'll eventually go into the hull, John's hull. But yeah, so it's a real shame, you know, like these pits are how they were in their original configuration. So Bandai obviously had good reference of these pits that still exist, and some of those pics, especially the downward shots, are in the chronicles of these pits, but they are no longer, because between the Empire and, well, between A New Hope and Empire, these pits were destroyed as such, or cut up and moved to allow for the Empire Strikes Back modifications to the Falcon with 2 more front landing gear boxes, and the pits, all the details were cut up. So this McLaren was sort of cut here somewhere, and that half never existed, but they reused bits and pieces from the pits, the existing pits, back into their modified pits, just all reconfigured and all over the place. So in effect, there's pretty much two versions of the Falcon you can build. The 5-footer, which technically is not the 5-footer, it's the 4-footer, but we've just all got, a lot of us have got into the way of calling it the 5-footer. Basically it's 5 feet in length, but it's 4 feet in diameter, or the diameter of the circle, so ish, yeah. So I'll chug away on these, adding more detail, bits and pieces to these pits. I've used black styrene this time. It's actually really nice to work with, nice to cut, but it's a bit heavier than what I was using before for the bases, which is, what did I use? A core board here called Parlight. Very light, easy to cut. One cut with a number 11 blade and you're through it. This styrene, I've had, you know, I'm using a saw to cut this, and then just sand it all flat, with nice edges and everything. So yeah. But yeah, these are lovely to do, revisit. Hopefully John will be happy with these. And but this time, when on my build, I built these pits and then inserted them through the openings into the hole, which was a little tricky. They fitted, but it didn't allow me much room for maneuvering. So this time they will be placed under the domes, sitting there ready to be, for the openings to be cut open and then fiddled around with, but they'll be in place. I won't have to worry about having to insert them through a tight hole, which I think is a much better plan. Second time's a charm. But yeah. So yeah, if anyone wants to send me bags and bags of parts to construct these pits, I can do that. I love doing these. I love doing the detail stuff. Absolutely fantastic. And the guys at ILM Model Builders, they just did such a awesome job of making this thing look mechanical and real. And I mean, that goes for all the pits. Completely different styles. That's all from 2 or 3 or 4 kits. This is like, God, it must be like 15 kits that you need for this, the Chieftain pit. More complex. The back wall alone, I mean, there's some expensive kits on the back there, original kit parts and things. And like I said, me and a few others have ID'd some more parts that I didn't have in my pits, which is nice. There's some real keen guys out there with an eye for detail, IDing these parts. I mean, I've literally just poured over those Chronicles pics, blowing them up, getting, trying to get high-res copies of it, looking down into the pit. And I've seen, you take from back here, there isn't actually 4 of these 25th Centurion towing shackles. There's actually 3, and there's a detail hidden back here. Well, 2 details that I've added. I've put 1 in, I'm going to add the other one. But that took me, I think, a week of just looking and trying to decide, okay, it's this part. It looks right, the heights and everything, and referencing the Bandai working schematics, not the actual kit part, but what they went through. Drawings and things that they've added in there. I could see what it was. But yeah, all these details. A lot of love goes into this. It's like, it's not mine, but, I want it right. Even this swapped out to I found that, which is a better match to the original. But yeah, I don't like the term, I guess, what is it? Rivet counters. Oh, you're a rivet counter. Well, I don't class myself as that, but I do like the details to be right. And yes, I would immediately, if I saw another builder's pit and go, oh, that detail's different, I'd notice. Yes, but that's because you've built it. You've put all the effort in to building yours. You're going to notice over time all the ref that you've been looking at that, some builders' details could be different. But hey, it's just whatever you want to do. But for me, I just like getting everything as best I can. It's just the silly things of pipe bends just right, where they sit, and just, like the distances between pipes, the pipe bend, just silly things really, but that's what, we do, especially us Falcon guys. We just want to get the details right. And there is no 100% accurate replica. That does not exist. We just do our best to get it as accurate as we can, but it's not 100%, never will be, and I don't even strive for that. There's like, I strive to get things right, and if I do, say, this pipe 5 times, it's like, oh, nah, stuff it, this one's good enough, I'll use it. I'm not going to go on and on and on wasting materials and things just to get something absolutely dead on to what it is. But yeah, so yeah, hopefully my ramblings today haven't been too rambly. So thanks for listening, guys. Take care. Thanks.